lot of rec. All right. Okay, good. So I'll kick us off. I'm State Senator Brian Kavanagh from representing Lower Manhattan, and just like to welcome everybody. This is a meeting of the Manhattan Detention Center Complex Construction and Demolition Working Group. This meeting is co-convened by the offices of Congressman Dan Goldman, Senator Grace Lee, Borough President, our new Borough President, Brad Hoylman Siegel, Councilmember Chris Marte, Community Board 1, and myself from my State Senate office. These meetings are recorded and posted for those who can't be here today. I do want to, again, especially acknowledge our newest elected official participant, Brad Hoylman Siegel, who's no stranger to public policy in Manhattan, but new in his role as Borough President and newly having representing the community in which the jail is being constructed. So I also do want to note one absence, which is we do not have with us Laura Dodge, who's been our community environmental consultant. We're having ongoing conversations with the city, but the city had previously agreed to pay for that for an independent monitor, which was very helpful for this process and for the community. But for the construction phase, has not identified funding for that purpose. So just wanted to note that up front. It's been about 6 months since our last meeting. Over the past 6 months, the city and our offices have continued to working closely to make sure that people are getting the information they need, and community board meetings and other forums have been also opportunities for people to understand what's going on in some of the public workshops. We do appreciate the participation of DDC and the city and the many contractors and consultants who are working on this project who are with us. And next week, we have the first public meeting on the first phase of construction. That will be a public event together for the city to gather feedback on that process. So this meeting, I think, will be a bit of a prelude to some of the issues that will be discussed there. I guess let me pause there to see if any of our co-convening offices have any comments or questions or opening remarks.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I guess I'll let our new borough president go first.
Thank you. I'm good. Thanks so much, Councilmember.
Okay, welcome, Brad. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. First of all, thanks, Brian, for getting us all together again, and congratulations to our new borough president, Brad Hoylman Siegel. And it's great to see so many people on this call. I know it's been a few months since we all been together. There's one thing that I really want to address. I think at this time of transition in our government, with a new administration, currently we don't have a deputy mayor that oversees this project, or even a DDC commissioner that's overseeing this project. And so, I think this is the point in time where there's a lot of gray area, and I hope that we can slow down the start of construction until we have a better idea of what are the priorities for this project from the new administration. Typically when we have issues on a local level, we would have gone to the previous DDC commissioner, Tom Foley, who was always responsive. Or if we had to take it up the ladder, we always went to the deputy mayor. I think because we have a void in that leadership at the moment, I think it would be really irresponsible to start, construction or even, the process leading up to that. And so hopefully, this is just a conversation just to figure out where we are. But I think especially going into next week's meeting, we don't make any decisions until we have the people who are the true decision makers on what to move forward. And I know when former candidate for mayor Zoran Mandami visited Chinatown, he even said that he would meet with neighbors below Canal Street before anything happened. And so we want to make sure that these commitments are followed through with. and we have, as elected officials and stakeholders, an idea of what's going to happen there under this new administration. So just wanted to put that call out. I'm happy to follow up with a formal letter, but just wanted to make sure why we have everyone on right now that that was said. And thank you, Brian, for giving us the time to have this conversation.
Anyone want to respond on behalf of the city for that? Okay. All right. We'll leave that as a something that.
Hi, Senator.
Go ahead, please.
Jeff Margolis, Associate Commissioner for Communications and Policy at DDC. Good morning. Thank you again, Senator, for convening us. Thank you, Council Member, for your comments. We do have the Deputy Mayor of Operations, Julia Curson, who's on board. DDC reports directly to her. I am not sure if you meant the DOC Deputy Mayor. I don't know who they report to offhand, but I can certainly find out. Our goal here is to share how we are moving forward. We have not been given direction to pause or slow down. We have a team ready to go. And until told otherwise, obviously we understand your perspective and understand your concerns, but until told otherwise, we are continuing. Our acting commissioner, Eduardo Valle, actually still oversees the BBJ program, and that was his primary role as deputy commissioner up until he became the DDC acting commissioner. So we are proceeding until told otherwise. We understand your perspective, but unless that changes, that's where we are. Thank you, Senator.
Any other sort of preliminary comments or?
Well, Senator, thank you very much.
Please.
Brad Holman Siegel, the new Manhattan Borough President. Thank you, Council Member and Senator, for organizing this, and thank you to our government partners who are here. Just to reiterate what the Council Member said, Senator, I know you agree. This is a moment, what they call an inflection point. If there was one in this project, it would be now, where we would hopefully get clarification as to whether the city administration is moving forward with a plan that has a lot of opposition, to put it lightly, at the community level. Something that I learned time and time again as I traversed lower Manhattan, and particularly that neighborhood, which, let's face it, has enormous challenges. I don't have to tell anyone on this Zoom, but small businesses, neighbors, security, quality of life. So to the extent, Jeffrey, that we are able to secure a second look at the plans here, I would wholeheartedly support that and would urge an examination of this issue with all of the community concerns being taken into account.
Do we have a representative of the mayor's office on this call? Okay, so I mean, obviously both echoing the concerns of my colleagues, but also acknowledging that the city administration is still figuring things out. Who does what? We have had the mayor's office itself represented on these calls in the past, and I think it's important that we continue that practice. So we will reach out. We'll reach out to Deputy Mayor Carson's office as well and have that and sort of engage directly in that conversation. So, okay. Any other sort of preliminary thoughts here? Okay, so with that caveat, typically I think we have a pretty established rhythm. I just remind folks that this is a meeting with a wide range of opinions about the underlying project here, to say the least. But this is a meeting primarily about potential impacts of demolition in the earlier phase and now moving toward construction, the impacts of those processes on the community and how the city is addressing those things. So typically we have the city and the relevant consultants present, and then an opportunity for community for discussion among the group. So I think DDC, if you're gonna present.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Senator Kavanagh.
Lauren.
This is Lauren Messier. I'm the Public Engagement Manager for the Borough-Based Sales Program. It's wonderful to see all of you again. We haven't convened this group in a little while, as you said, but it's great to get us back going again. For those of you who have attended, we've had 2 design workshops thus far. For those of you who have attended those, you've had an opportunity already to meet with the design part of our design build team and ask questions about the design and see what the project is that's moving forward. And today we're really pleased to introduce you to the builder part of the design build team, the Tuner Perini ONG joint venture. So we have a very dense presentation actually to get through a lot of information. We wanted to be really comprehensive and lay out as thoroughly as we could for everyone what's going to be upcoming, what to expect during construction, what you're going to see in the immediate coming weeks and months, and then what's also happening a little bit longer term. We're going to focus most of the presentation on some of the nearer term work that's most critical and like mostly what everyone's going to be experiencing in the coming months. We will absolutely keep meeting with this group and we'll convene again before we start what we call phase 2 of construction. We'll go over all of that in more detail at that time. And just to reiterate, as you said, Senator, we do have an open public meeting to go over all of this information next week on the 22nd. That's going to be in the evening. We will have live interpretation in both Mandarin and Cantonese available. So please help us spread the word. If anyone on this call does not have information about that meeting, just send us a message in the chat. We'll make sure we get you a flyer.
Do you want to mention, especially given that this is recorded, do you want to just mention the location of that meeting as well?
That will also be virtual. It'll be a Zoom meeting. So there's a flyer that we've been circulating and sending out to our networks that has all the registration information. I think if Joanna or Shu or CCL, if one of you could just put registration information, just put that in the chat while we're going through the meeting, that would be great.
Okay. I actually thought it was hybrid, so I stand corrected, but okay. We'll make sure to get the word out. Okay.
Sure, great. Thanks so much. All right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce George Argyris from the Tutor Perini team, who's going to share his screen and walk us through their presentation. We'd kindly like to ask everyone to try to hold your questions to the end, because I think as we go through the presentation, we might be answering some of your questions, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end and get to as many questions as we can. And if you can't get a chance to ask your question today, please come meet with us again next week. You'll have an opportunity again there. All right, George.
Thank you, Laura.
Over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate everybody's time. It's nice to see everybody here so we can give you a presentation of what we're planning to do. Let's go ahead and look at the agenda. We'll do a quick introduction, look at the project site, the schedule, and some major milestones, look at the specified phase construction periods, talk about safety, monitoring, and construction impact mitigation. So starting out with introductions, as Lauren mentioned, I'm George Argyris with the Design Builder, Tutor Perini ONG. We are here on behalf of the city with DDC. We have New York Department of Corrections, ACOM Hill, JV, New York City Criminal Justice, and Correctional Health and Services. The designer on this project is HOK, Architect of Record and Engineer of Record. And there are, of course, going to be subcontractors performing the actual work on site. I want to open up with our MWB and diversity program. We're really sensitive in meeting the required goals that are set by the city. So there are multiple paths that we're taking. We're having MWB events. We had one late in 2025. We will have another one in April. The flyer will be distributed for that to keep you up to date. So we are reaching out to local businesses as well to get as much participation as possible. We do welcome anybody come to.
George, are you sharing your screen? Because I'm just seeing you. I'm not seeing a presentation. Sorry,
really?
Let's just like that sooner. Yeah.
Let me try again here. Can you see my screen now?
Nope, still just the webcam.
Apologies here. Let's see. Sorry about that. How about now? Is that better?
I think it's coming through. Yes, that's better.
All right.
Can you make it full screen? There we go. Okay.
Sorry
We can
for
see it
that.
now.
So here's just a summary of our MWB diversity program. Moving on to really the project site and explaining all about that. Everybody's aware of the location, right in the center of Chinatown and the Civic Center. You can see here a highlight of the plan view of the site. Talking about the project, it's 1,040 new beds, very similar to the other facilities in the other boroughs. It's about 295 feet tall with some space in the mechanical floors above. We're good, thank you. Looking at about 80,000 square foot footprint and a total of 1 million square feet. Now, when we look at the ULURP zoning square foot, it's about 697,000 square feet. All right. There's a structural steel framing and concrete core that houses the elevators with concrete slabs on the metal deck. And the envelope is made up of a current wall system. We'll get into more detail in a little bit. Looking at the schedule. So overall, the project is about 7 years from our notice to proceed that we received in May of 2025. Really, we mobilized on site around mid-December. You might have noticed we have adjusted our fence line and started setting up our site logistics. Right now, through early spring, we're preparing the site for SOE, supportive excavation, and you'll see some miscellaneous activities such as dismantling or demoing some of the abandoned foundation elements. That work will really start in the next couple of months. And the real operational work will start in Q2 of 26, where you'll see the drilling of the SOE system. Now, the SOE spans for a little bit over 2 years until our foundation starts in 2028. And that will be followed, of course, by our steel erection and the rest of the building fit out. Let's look at the phase construction periods. Our first period, as we just talked about, ended in December. Really, we were exploring the site, validating what's existing there, what was left over from the previous dismantling project. We conducted geotechnical borings, environmental testing, looked at utilities. So all that work is still ongoing. We should be wrapping that up very shortly. Also, you might have seen Con Ed really start to get very busy around the neighborhood to support us with our operations as we want to start SOE in the spring. So this is a reference of the site plan. You can see here in various colors, the green is representing the pedestrian traffic. The red is the site fence. As I mentioned earlier, we have captured here portions of Baxter Street and Center Street. You will see here the courthouse Sallyport. This is the artery of the courthouse where operations are bringing people in and out, people in custody. We have not altered that operation. That is maintained, but we are coordinating as our entrance to the site, or one of our entrances is right adjacent to that. Other than that, this plan has been shared with the Department of Transportation. They have approved it, which is why we started moving all the site fence and everything like that. All right, period 2. This is starting in about a month. It's going all the way through Q4 of 2028. This will include SOE, supportive excavation. I'll walk you through in detail what that will entail. It will include the mat foundation of the subcellar and the subcellar walls, and the start of steel. We'll start to see actual vertical movement in Q3 of 2028. It's important to note here the work hours. We are showing 6 a.m. to midnight. Keep in mind that the first hour is really a phased start to start bringing in all the workforce and setting up the site, doing toolbox talks, and starting deliveries. So really the operational work will start about 7 a.m. On the tail end of that, the midnight hour, I know this is a pretty outstanding time, but really on the tail end of these 1 or 2 hours, it's going to be winding down this type of work. We're going to be demobilizing, securing the site, making sure if there's weather events, everything is secured. So it should be winding down in the last 1 or 2 hours. Also, the after-hour variants after 6 p.m. should start on or about May or June of 2026, and that will start being implemented throughout the summer with our drilling operations. Now, the schedule is a very tight and accelerated schedule, which is why we need to really work on these hours. There's certain activities that can occur during the day and others that will occur in the evening. So activities such as drilling and heavy concrete operations will be happening during the day, some of which may go into the early evening, especially concrete, but really the drilling is really should be focusing during the day. This is a sketch here of our supportive excavation system. You can see here Baxter on the top of the page and Center Street on the bottom. What this entails is what it's called the secant pile wall that goes all around the building. Here you can see in the orange color, and this is a pile system that is going all the way down to bedrock, which I'll show you more detail in just a moment. All that is supported by this lateral cross-lop bracing. You can see in the 3D model, which we have 2 layers to support the exterior walls. This is a nice picture to show you an example of this cross-lop bracing that is bracing the exterior walls. Of course, here it's just... Yes. Here you see one level. We're going to have 2 levels on our site. And the intent is we start excavating after the SOE is installed, and we include these elements. You can see here the drill rig that will be used for this type of operation is approximately 100 feet tall. We are working with our drilling subcontractor to identify how many of these rigs will be on site. And here is a short video, which I'll walk you through of what that operation will look like. There we go. All right. So you can see here the equipment is brought onto site. The first step is to make a trench on the site to get our guide wall or starter wall going. This is a channel that enables the secant piles to be guided through the earth as they're being drilled. You can see here the drill rig comes in after the guide wall is in place, and we drill down. You can see here the overlap. Let me fast forward a little bit. Here you go. So this is the operation. These piles are drilled in. They're filled with concrete and steel, and they overlap. And this creates a barrier from the exterior of the site. And this is going to help us control the water, which I'll explain to you in the next slide. You can see that's going around all the way around the perimeter. Just want to be cautious of the time here. The only difference from what you're seeing on screen is that we're going to be going all the way down to bedrock to secure against the water table on the perimeter. And here's the final product. It's basically a wall with a cylindrical shape. And at the end, it looks something like this in concept. And this is what helps our dewatering operation, which you can see here, the secant wall in gray. This goes all the way down to bedrock, where we then come in and excavate down. Once we get to the water table, we will draw down the water table on the interior of the site, which is isolated by the secant wall. Kind of creates like a ring wall around the site. And once we get deep enough and we install this cross-lop bracing, we then place the foundation. Now this cross-lop bracing is in place until we are able to secure these walls with the cellar floors, which will create enough support to remove these systems and continue with our building construction. This is another slide just explaining how this operation is done. Now, during this dewatering operation, we're going to have wells all throughout the site to monitor the water table level. You can see here, this is the normal water table, and we're drawing down from there. The excavation is about 30 to 40 feet, depending on where you are on site. And this is how this will look like in concept. This is some examples of the type of equipment you'll see on site. You'll see some cranes, concrete pumping equipment, concrete trucks. You'll see here some of these casings that go into the secant piles. Now, period 3 starts at the end of 2028. This is when we really start to go vertical above the street level. You'll see a steel erection going up. You'll see concrete elevator cores going up. The work hours stay the same, and the concept in terms of how we start the day and end our day is the same. We're going to ramp up in the morning with our workforce and ramp down towards the tail end of that time period. Saturdays are going to be an option in case we get a lot of weather impacts or we have to make up work or continue some miscellaneous activities on Saturdays. Here are some examples of the vertical structure. This is what an elevator core looks like. This leads the structure. It goes up ahead of the steel erection, which you can see here are some examples. Here are some tower cranes that are going to be similar to what we will be utilizing. And of course, our hoists. All right, the curtain wall system is basically the skin of the building. And this protects the building from moisture, wind, and all the environmental elements. It also helps keep a certain level of efficiency within the building in terms of thermal parameters, how much heat is let in and out, and how much cool air is let in and out. This is a type of operation that we'll be doing. We'll bring the panels inside the building. We will hoist them out with either a crane, a tower crane, or a small crane placed a few floors above. And we'll place these panels into their permanent location, very similar to what you see throughout the city. Safety and monitoring, very important. We take safety very seriously at Tutor Perini. We have an excellent track record throughout the country, and we're going to implement that here as well. You can see here some examples of training from our Brooklyn facility. We have safety plans that go through DDC.